This podcast is sponsored by Mad Hatter's Hideaway, 2334 Culver Road, Rochester, New York, 14609. Stop down today for all your smoke and vape accessories.
Stay lit, stay informed.
Welcome to the UrbaQuest podcast. Introducing your UrbaQuest team, Yuli V, John Z, Logan P, and Justin C. They're bringing you what's burning in cannabis entertainment, events, vendors, cultivation, and culture. So grab your fucking bong. Damn son, who's the plug? And enjoy the show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. We're currently riding high on holiday spirit and, a little bit of the ganja, the weed, whatever Yuli wants to call it this week. At the time of recording, we're currently coming down off the Christmas Cure and the comedy show. Huge shout out to Rudolph Valentino and Finger Lakes Premium for putting on a massively huge, not huge, but like huge in our eyes just because the amount of people that came and showed some love to UrbaQuest. So huge shout out to those guys. We're stoked as well for the Christmas Carnival coming up this Saturday. It's going to be a blast. We're going to be chilling with Rock City Premiums all day, so make sure you come down and check us out.
All day.
Definitely don't miss that, yo. And welcome back, Mr. Jay-Z, John Zingaro. Sorry we missed you last week, brother. And
hello, everybody.
Oh, I'm still sick. Get out of here.
We're glad that your eyes aren't leaking anymore.
Yes.
He was crying. No,
So,
I'm kidding.
Today was a awesome episode. We're here with SOFEM Genetics, Marty, and he's a breeder of just amazing genetics. So I'm going to pass this over to Justin. Let's go ahead and get this show on the road.
What's going on? Marty, welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. So just to elaborate a little bit, Marty does do feminized regulars, and, I say regulars. I should say photoperiods. Correct myself. Feminized photoperiods, regular photoperiods, and autoflowers. Do you also, we're going to cut into an interview before I even do the right way, but is there regular autos that hit the market, or is that, so I would assume so, right? Because they got to be incorporated into breeding, but I've never seen regular autos like on a store shelf or anything.
Yeah, regular autos are on the market. They're just not ideal for growers because part of the whole point of growing an auto is to make it easy and convenient. And there's no point in filling your closet or your tent full of males and then throwing them out. But they're on the market because that's how we make, autos. When we turn a photo period into an auto, we have to go up to F4. So they're going to be regular all the way up until F4 anyways. And then you could make your F5 version feminized, from that F4.
And that, I think we've talked about it on the show before, but just to refresh everybody's memory, what he's talking about with F4 and F5 is filial generation. That means that's the amount of times that has been essentially brother and sister banging to produce a more stable next generation. Sorry for the crudeness, but
Can I ask though, like, can you just specify like what's the difference between an auto and a non-auto? Like, because I'm sure we talked about it before, but let's just give like a brief description of that because I have no fucking clue what it is. I'm so early in the process of like learning to grow, dude. Like, I can do it. I just don't know like. I can do it.
Yeah, we'll start from the ground up. So photo period, we call it photo period because outdoors, it flowers based on a photo period. Different parts of the world, different parts of the country, all have different photo periods. But the one thing is the same is that you take those seeds and you grow them in one part of the world consistently, and every year they're going to start flowering at the same time. If I grow them over here in Michigan, every year in early August, they're going to start flowering at the same time. So that's why we call them photo period. When we grow them indoors, to initiate flower, we have to switch them to something close to 12 hours of light, 12 hours of dark period to initiate, to kind of mimic that outdoor flowering season. But with auto flowering seeds, these have been bred with ruderalis to give them these auto flowering traits. So most of my autos just automatically flower between 22 and 27 days. There's little tips and tricks and things you can do to keep them in veg longer to get bigger plants, but they automatically flower at the end of the day, no matter what. And switching them back and forth between different light cycles, different light and dark periods doesn't stress them out. It doesn't revert them back into vegetative growth. They just continue to finish flowering. So they're easy. There are some downsides. Autos still aren't quite as potent as photoperiods. My auto lines are about 10% less potency than my photoperiod feminized line. But there's balances. Like now autos are yielding more than photoperiods are. Like some growers are getting like considerably more in, the same square foot space out of an auto than a photoperiod. So
is that, I guess I wonder, is that calculation done as far as life of the plant? Like how much time that they're getting because they're able to turn those yields quicker with an auto flower, that it's calculated as more of a yield? Or is the plant actually yielding higher?
Yeah, it's actually yielding higher, but you just brought up another positive factor, which is a lot of autos, the actual flowering time is quicker than a lot of photoperiod too. So you're going to veg for 22, 25 days or something like that. And then she starts flowering, but she still finishes in like 75 to 85 days. So you'll have, if you have the autos, side by side with some of your photoperiod, you'll see them initiate flower at the same time. And then the autos, some of the calyxes just start to swell up faster. You'll see bigger, longer pistils. And then the photoperiod that you've been growing all these years suddenly start to look a little bit runty, and you're looking at your nutrients thinking, can I push these harder? Can I push this harder? But the autos they just kick it out. And then they finish quicker. So you'll see them pack on weight while your photoperiods are still in their, third or fourth week, not putting it on yet.
So you can keep them on that 12-12, or do they need more light?
You can keep autos on 12. I've never flowered an auto on less than 10 hours of light a day. So I don't know what they would do with less than that, but you can flower an auto on 12 hours of light. You can do 18 hours of light. You can do 20 hours. Most of us are in agreement that 20 hours on, 4 hours off seems to be how autos perform the best. But they take in all that light, all that energy all day. So if you're giving them more hours of light, they're going to yield more. They're going to be bigger.
So essentially you can rock them in a veg tent and a flower tent.
Yeah, and you can move them back and forth. So if you've got extra space in your flower room, you can have them in there if you want to. It's not going to hurt them to have them on 12-12. And then if you fill up your flower room, like all your other plants stretch out, then you throw it back in your veg room and let it finish in there. So it's a good way to use up extra space.
Hey, that's interesting. I would expect less yield out of a 12-hour exposure though, right? Like a lower harvest. You're getting less energy. You have to have less photosynthesis. Okay. Yeah. So also I might need to be right back. I got to go change my timers. No, I'm just kidding. No, that was a joke. I'm saying because of the 20-hour for thing. I do though. We set a term there that I feel like as growers and breeders, we take for granted that it's just like a simple term and people probably know what it means. So photoperiod is essentially just the length of the day. Every plant has what's known as, well, not every plant. Some plants are photoperiod independent, like the autoflowers, but most plants have what's known as a critical day length. And that's either going to be a long night or a long day is going to cause it to flower. And that's why you see either springtime flowering or fall time flowering plants, because they coincide with one or the other. And so I just wanted to make sure that was clear to the viewers. And cannabis is what is known as a short day, long night flowering plant, where it needs 12 hours of darkness typically in order to initiate flowering, somewhere around there. Most cultivars really are like 13 or 14 and they'll start initiating flower. But we go with 12-12 because that pretty much catches all the photoperiod plants. But as you were saying, autoflowers, this to beat a horse, don't rely on this.
I feel like humans should go 12-12. Everyone would be a beautiful flower.
Get that exposure.
Like, what the
Although you
hell?
can't do that in Rochester because the sun's about to go away for 5 months.
Not on my moon.
Yeah, where are you, dude? Your moon got way brighter. It's usually green. What's going on there?
I'm on the sun.
Okay, perfect. 24.
So we actually got a little bit ahead of where I was hoping to start this out, but that's okay. I love diving into information. But I really wanted.
Super excited about this one.
Yeah, I love talking grow. This.
He's all like,
this is his thing. Yeah, my man's like this. Yeah. Which that's why I'll tell you what, Marty, that's why I love Justin though, man, because that's passion, man. You need passion in your life. There's so many humans that you encounter day to day that have no passion at all. And it's like, wow. And then you meet this fucking kid and you can't get him to shut up. But we're all growing great buds. So, or are we? I don't know. I'm vegging.
So I really want to know like how SOFEM got its start, right? And I would like our viewers to kind of have an understanding of the history behind the company. And I honestly wasn't aware until we talked about the email that the Unofficial Good Guys was like the same entity until like 2 days ago. So I would have built that in here as well. But if you want to talk about both the SOFEM and the Unofficial Good Guys, how those kind of came up and where you got your idea. And even if you want to touch on like how you first got started in the cannabis space, that'd be awesome.
Okay. Well, I guess I could just, I guess I could just start from the beginning and try to, okay. So I started working with cannabis. Well, I started growing cannabis in 2010 and we got medical in 2009. I finally realized after about a year that I could get it for my back problems, which I was on all these meds for. And I was on a bunch of psych meds and stuff too at the time. So I got my card, started driving out to Ann Arbor once a week to, get whatever we could afford, and then started growing in the meantime. And it was just like, it was a lot more than I thought it was going to be, for me, I got off probably over a dozen pharmas, including Xanax and Vicodin, which I really liked to take. I was on them for 5 years, and those were the two that were the hardest to get off, obviously, because they're addictive. But even with me using them responsibly, like there was some comfort, in having them. In between, vaping and smoking and, edibles and everything I was doing at the time, I didn't need it anymore after a while. So I was, it took me about a year to get my shit together with growing. I finally found rollitup.org. This was back before we had all these Facebook groups and before we had this community and everything. So I had to figure out, all this stuff. So I'm sitting there reading like the veganics. I remember I was into that veganics forum. It was like a sticky thread on Roll It Up in the organic section. So that was how I started growing, was like super elitist, like just trying to grow as clean as possible. And then I scaled back a little bit over the years and realized like, shit is shit. Like guano is, like I got, so I would consider myself now like, like a living soil, kind of guy. But in 2012, I think it was, I made my first cross, which ended up being my P1 stock. I was just gonna breed for a hobby. I was into the idea of, I knew there were breeders. I knew they were like, up here, and I was like, okay, I just want to try this out for me. So I crossed a Wonder Woman stud that I got out of 10 seeds. That was just a beast. I didn't know, what I was doing, but I knew what I wanted. And then I had a Grape Ape clone that I got from the dispensary that was just great for me medically. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna do this. So I made the cross. I had the beans sitting in a jar for over a year. Hadn't, done anything with them. Hadn't hunted them out yet. And then I had my grow room that I was, the flower that I was selling, that room. I had
allegedly.
Allegedly. I had the same Well, at the time for us, we were allowed to do it for compensation.
Oh, okay.
But I had the same moms that I've been running over and over for over a year, and I had this purple plush berry that I wanted to make seeds with. I just couldn't leave it alone. So I hunted, I don't remember how many seeds I popped. I didn't know it was important at that time to pop, tons of seeds, but I popped some seeds and I got a male that was impressive again. And so I wanted to cross into that plush berry. And I thought at the time that since the male was small, I could just put him inside this plush berry plant as he was, getting ready to release pollen, and that she would just kind of catch all of the pollen. And, I was naive. And there was also an oscillating fan right above the purple plush berry plant. So I hit the whole room, and I was devastated. I was still excited about the project I was working on, but I was devastated about the room. So I was considering just selling seeded flower, for cheap to friends and stuff. And then I thought, no, they're still going to complain. When I give them a deal, they're gonna break it all up, smoke it, and then they're gonna complain. So there's no point. And I was like, okay, I could make oil with it. And then I talked to, I had co-founded Parents for Pot with a whole bunch of other friends, a whole bunch of other activists. And I talked to another friend of mine, and he said, you should just start like a family, based or family oriented seed company. I don't know of anything like that yet. And I didn't feel like a breeder, it felt like, if the idea of trying to be a breeder made me feel like a poser. But I was like, okay, well, if this is charity based, like I could do that. So I started hunting and testing all my gear, that I'd made. The one that I had made with intention, the purple plushberry cross, I named that Cyber Grape before the seeds were finished, before I ever got to test her out, because I had pushed my intention like the whole time, every day, meditating with that plant of a specific color, which was the internet color for Cyber Grape. And I wanted to see if it would work, if I could, get that from the seeds. And it did work. I was like sold on it. Like, that's what really made me a breeder, like when I realized that had happened. Like, I pushed something into this plant from my consciousness, and the plant understood me, and it happened. But so I had Cyber Grape, and I had 8 other strains that I made at the time. And I started Cannabis Family Seeds, and I rebranded like a year later to Canafam Seeds. I got like a few Skunk Mag features, like 2014, 2015. I had like a friend who was a professional photographer come over and obsessively take pics of like everything that I had just obsessively grown out. So we had some like really impressive pics, and so I was like doing, I was doing work. I wanted to make this a big thing. And then in 2016, I don't really know why, but for some reason, maybe it was because I felt like I'd had some help, from Skunk or something, and I wanted to see what I could do on my own. But I was working with the Vigilante that I'd made, and I hunted for a stud, and the Vigilante is super homogenous, and I was gonna make a new line like separate from what I had already been working with the Canafam Seeds line. And I said, okay, you know what? I want to just start over. I want to redo. I want to do it again. So I came up with the concept for Omega Alpha, and then made those crosses and released them all under the Omega Alpha name. So pretty much it was like releasing a new line. Nobody knew it was me. Nobody knew who I was. I didn't go around saying, oh, this is my new line, all that shit. And I wanted to see if I could just gain the same kind of hype for some of my gear, in the community without, that stuff. And I did. And I had fun with it. And I think it was the right move for whatever reason. But I moved up to the UP and decided I was going to sell seeds full time. I wasn't doing flour. I wasn't doing oils. I wanted to, we were renting a house up there right on the lake. Everything was, so I was like, I gotta sell more than just my genetics. Like, if I'm going to make this work, like I can't hustle and grind just the gear that I've made. So I started, you mentioned the Unofficial Good Guys. So that's my seed bank. I started that in 2016 with my ex-wife at the time. And that did the job. Like I started selling gear from other breeders that I was, other homies that do good work. I was selling TGA. I was a rep for them for a while. And so I had all that, extra income from selling other breeders' work in addition to mine. And then what happened that got me to start SOFEM was a big fuck up. I had, I didn't have a lot of investment money. I didn't have any investment money at the time. It was always like, making
Bootstrap.
money, reinvesting it into myself, and then, keep doing that over and over again. So I had traded a ton of gear from my Can of Fam Seeds line to these guys that had, everybody in the community was supporting them, buying seeds from them. So it felt like a no-brainer. And I traded for a bunch of their seeds, and then, put a bunch of them in the ground to test them out, but also started selling them at the same time. And then 4 or 5, 6 months later, we started getting all these reports of males, and I got males, and it was almost enough to just want to just shut down the company and then give a refund to anybody that asked for it, and then just try to work my way out of it. But most of our customers were cool at the time. And, the people that weren't. It was something we had to deal with. We tried to make it right with everybody that we could. But then I got it into my head, why did I not just make my own feminized line? Like, if I'm going to sell, why did I not just do that? And I thought about it, and I'm like, because I'm being arrogant. Because I started this off being all elitist about things, and I felt like feminized seeds, it's hermaphrodite genetics is what it really is. And I felt like, the more feminized seeds that are on the market, the more people are going to be hobby breeders are going to be crossing into it. And I felt like it was going to dilute the genetic pool, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, feminized seeds are out there. They exist. I wanted to sell them. I wanted to make money. I have a lot of customers that don't have the, with plant restrictions and stuff like that. They can't
afford to grow males and then have to throw them out.
And I understand that, and I can relate to that. And they don't want to have clones shipped to them. And that's, so I said, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I did a lot of research, getting into it, made sure I knew exactly how I wanted to do it, came up with a process that I felt confident in, and then did another big hunt, 900 seeds from the Omega Alpha line that I just made, which also gave me the opportunity to get lots of good picks and stuff again. And then I picked the moms that I wanted to use. I picked the moms that I wanted to reverse for Bond. And I made those first round of crosses, and I tested them. And then as I was testing them, I started to do an early release, to, Facebook, IG, not on the website yet. And then everything just clicked. It felt right. I started doing, I was nervous about autos because I didn't have a lot of experience with them, and I didn't, again, I don't want to just come out here doing something and
have it backfire.
Yeah. So I started off with some of the best reg auto stock that I could find. I had a lemon skunk from Greenhouse. I had the bloody skunk from Sweet Seeds that I had a bunch to hunt through. And I made my blood lemon skunk, and then that ended up being, it's still if I had seeds left, I'd be growing it every 3 months just for my personal smoke. I'd have a friend just run a pound of it as wax, and then I'd have that all summer. But I used that for a lot of crosses. So that became my, hallmark auto that I still, answer emails for constantly. And I have to give people the bad news that I can't remake it yet unless I go back from square one. But I came up with the name SOFEM while I was eating some So Delicious coconut ice cream. I said, you know what, that's the shit. Nobody's going to do better than that. So from a marketing perspective, at least.
That's great.
Oh yeah. Plus it also kind of, go ahead, Yuli.
I gotta be honest, man. I'm still stuck on the so you fucking meditated with a plant and had it go to the color that you wanted it to be?
Yeah.
stuck on that.
Can we go back to that? That's like
Yeah.
that's some like that's some hero shit. That's some like please indulge
Yeah,
us.
go back to that. So I don't want to sound like I give that kind of attention to my plants now. Like I've got 4 kids. I'm back and forth between Detroit and farm, different grows, different locations, different businesses. Like so, I'm with them and I talk to them and I spend time with them. But this was a different time back then. Like I was super sciencey. Like I was constantly doing side by side grows with different nutrients and experiments and all that. So I really wanted to try something out. And I was already learning about, different types of consciousness experience. I watched the 3 collective evolution videos that were out back in the day, the documentaries. And one of them, I think it was the second one, had a doctor that had done a bunch of plant experiments where he had thought about burning a plant while it was connected to the polygraph machine, and the plant went crazy. Just I'm like,
Wow.
whoa! If the plant went crazy just at him thinking about it, like there's really a connection there. So I wanted to test that out in my own way, in my own time. So I looked at internet colors to find my what I would guess was my favorite color, purple. I'm like, which color purple would I want to have on my wall for the rest of my life? And I found Cyber Grape, and I was like, that's a sweet name. So, so I looked at that color, I printed it out. I looked at it almost every day when I was on my computer, upstairs doing work, doing whatever. And then I would go downstairs and I would sit in front of that plant almost every day for the entire time she flowered. And I would probably daydream about random shit, but for at least part of the time I was sitting there, I was projecting that exact color from my mind into the plant and saying, look, it would be great if you could be this color.
That's awesome.
I would be right about some shit that's really cool, And
I wonder if it works
the first 5 females that I grew, there were 3 purples. 2 of them were that exact same color. But one of them was it was the promo pics for it. Like I got to use those for years. It was crazy.
I got you. I was gonna say that's the exact reason why they say always talk good to your plants. Be nice to them.
Did you ever tell your plants give me bigger buds?
Yes, I give them all that kind of language, all that verbiage when I'm breeding for seeds. So when they're pregnant, I will literally just say random shit to them. I'll be walking
grow
by
legs.
Hey, you don't feel bad about putting on some weight. It's winter, nobody's gonna see you. Just eat as much as you want to.
There's no mirrors in here. No one's judging.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, geez.
So I also think though that SOFEM, after having an experience with feminized seeds that were not well produced, is kind of like an ironic name as well, or maybe ironic's the wrong term, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, I like to do double meanings and have yeah.
So what do you use for your feminization? You use STS?
Yep.
Okay, so for people who don't know that, sorry, that's
I've used both, but
okay.
But STS is just quicker.
Okay. For those that don't know, that's silver thiosulfate. You can Google that to figure out what the mixture is. It's well, I guess I'm gonna tell you. It's silver nitrate and sodium thiosulfate.
I was gonna say you're not gonna tell us right now what it is.
But that in more recent times has been proven to be a better sort of what's the term? I don't know. It's a better route to go than colloidal silver. It seems to have more consistent results.
Yeah, it's technically more toxic, but it's it's not like that's carrying over into the genetics or anything, and you're not going to smoke or eat the plant that you took the seeds out of, that you reversed the pollen from. So
yeah, just advise if you are going to start getting into trying to pollen truck and you start making silver thiosulfate, put some gloves on. Don't let it get into your skin.
And if you make your own seeds, please, if you make your own seeds with STS or with Clydo Silver, please test your seeds out before you pass them out to anybody or, try to make an extra buck on them. Please test out at least 10, 20 of them in your own grow. Make sure everything's legit.
Or if you pass them out, tell the people they're untested and that
Yeah.
you want feedback.
Yeah, that's it. That's even better. I mean, yeah, that's how you get testing done.
So then I had the initial thought, right? Because my first encounter with SOFEM Genetics was through actually a local business here, hashtag Hydro, who carries your work. And he was running some waffles on this page that he has, and I happened to be the lucky winner. And I was strictly against Autoflowers and was only in the waffle because I was like, it's worth a shot to jump in this waffle and get some cheap beans. We'll give them a go. Man, I popped those seeds. They were amazing. I literally threw them in my veg tent. Halfway paid attention to them. I did not give them the love that they should have been given for a flowering plant. And they came out just as dank as any of my other plants. And they were essentially forgotten about. Changed my entire perspective. But my first thought was that you were like an autoflower breeder, and that was how it was presented to me. So I had initially thought that that's how you got in, and then I started recently seeing Rob carrying some of the photoperiod genetics, and so you didn't start. If I'm getting it correct, you started with straight up photoperiod regular plants.
Yep. And that's all, like, as far as I was like you and like most guys like that just thought autos were junk. I didn't talk shit about them because I didn't have experience with them, but my opinion of them personally was I thought that they were junk. I thought that autos were basically a good plant crossed into a shitty plant to make it
worse,
flower faster. And I mean, in some ways it is, but it's been done now for over 20 years. And I looked a little bit of stuff up, and they've been breeding the THC up in photoperiods for about 60 years or so, and it's only been about 20 years for autos. So I'm like, what about in another 40 years? Like, if we're like 10% behind in THC now, it should level out to be on par or higher, at the rate they're on. But yeah, I thought they were bullshit. I didn't want anything to do with them. And I didn't want anything to do with making feminized genetics for the first few years. Mostly that was about being able to provide something that people want, something that some people need, for them to have a safe place to get it, to get quality feminized genetics, and to get them at a fair price. Because a lot of these packs are just like, like if you're gonna pay $20 a seed, you might as well just get clones. They start off like a 4-month-old plant.
Right.
So,
I honestly probably would have never gotten into it either if I didn't see Justin keep losing these raffles over and over and over and over. For like literally for 1 3-pack of the seeds, he probably put in like $250 or some shit like that. And then I put down $5. I won. My fiance $5. $300 more later, Justin finally gets another pack.
It was a rough time. I may or may not have a cannabis gambling addiction. So what is really the difference then? Is there any difference in breeding autoflowers and photoperiod? I mean, I know there's one that I can think of, but I'm gonna go ahead and
it's a lot different, especially with hermaphrodite genetics. When we're reversing, so if you're working with photoperiod and you want to make fems, and you've got your mother plant, it doesn't matter whether she's in veg or in flower, you can take a cutting at any time and clone it and revert it back into veg. So you can see how she flowers. You can take a clone before she flowers or mid-flower, knowing how she looks, how she smells, how she's going to yield, if she's resistant to mold or pests. You're going to know all that. And then you can take cuts, root them, grow them out, and then you can start spraying, whether you're using CS or STS, you can start spraying that cut while it's small, and then reverse it without any problems, and then have it pollinate your mom. With autos, if you're using reg autos, you have to see at least pistils first before you can start spraying. You got to know that she's female. You also want to see a little bit more than pistils because, you know, there could be a lot more going on there. Maybe she shoots off pistils, but then the flowers afterwards were like these weird little popcorn buds and some scraggly little foxtail buds. And you don't want to spend time and money making a bunch of seeds that 6-7 months later test out to be foxtails. So you want to be able to see like at least into the second week of flower with autos. And that's part of the reason I prefer STS is because it's hard to reverse them after the second week. And I actually just had 2 back-to-back reversal projects that failed, like a whole room of autos that just turned into flower that's getting ran into oil because, you know, I did the big hunt and I picked all the keepers and then I couldn't reverse in time. So it's tricky. And because it's because I don't have myself on a legit schedule and I'm, you know, just driving around doing so much all the time, I do fuck up like that sometimes on a whole project. With photo period, never. I mean, it's not even like a possibility because I can take those clones and I can time everything out and I can start spraying it down when I'm ready, and then everything is easy to do that in that regard. But with autos, it's tricky. And you know, you're not, you know, the market says you're not supposed to sell feminized autos for much more than feminized photo periods. So it's almost like, you know, I would sell photos cheaper, but I can't sell autos for more. So I have to like find a middle ground and sell them at the same price. But yeah, it's
interesting.
It's difficult to make feminized autos.
Can you clone autos? What
Yeah,
happens?
there's some guys doing it.
What happens with that? Like, what if you just clone? You know, get a couple auto moms, clone them, and then you got a fucking sea of green of autos. What goes on there?
So you can't really do a sea of green because unless you've got an auto that's like a super auto, and then you're cloning it out like when it's this big before it flowers. But there's some guys that I follow on IG. I haven't tried it yet just because it seems pointless to me. I could just pop no seeds, but
Right.
but they're cloning autos. So what I think what they're doing is they're cloning it right before it flowers, or a week, maybe around the 15th day or something. But they're taking the clone and then they're rooting it, and then their auto that they took the clone from goes into flower, and then their clone continues to veg, and then they were able to take another cut from that to clone and then push that clone into flower, and then the clone that they root. So they were able to, like, I don't know how long they did it for or how well it worked for them, but they were, to an extent, for at least 3 cycles that I followed, able to clone that auto and then root it and then get it to be about the same size as the original mother auto.
Jesus,
Just blew my mind.
Right, I would think that the clone
I
would
don't
just
know.
keep
I
getting
don't know why
smaller.
that's working.
I thought that like once it hit, I guess it's got to change its hormones to reroot, right? So maybe it
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Is the only thing that I've thought of. You know, I haven't looked into it or you know, like I said, I haven't experimented with it. But just thinking about it, that was the same thing I came to.
I'm sorry, but
Because there's like a whole week where it's not really alive, you know, while it's rooting, and then it has roots again. So there could be
it like resets the clock maybe.
Yeah. You know.
Huh.
So I kind of just clocked this, and entirely irrelevant. Is that supposed to be a tomato on the thing behind you with a weed leaf?
I don't know actually.
I did it. He said,
This is,
well, wait a minute.
It looks like-
I don't know. It looks like the top of a tomato.
yeah,
I
like one
got
of those
this as a
old
Christmas
pinprick
present.
things.
It actually says hemp on it. It's not even technically weed. I got it as a Christmas present a couple of years ago, and it fit my window. It says hemp, smoker's delight. So I'm guessing it was like a free gift that somebody regifted me.
Hey, I love it. Regardless, I think it's awesome.
It does kind of look like a tomato with a tomato leaf, though.
Yeah, I love that kind of. Sorry to completely fucking change the subject there.
He said, hold on a second. What's in your window?
I had to pick where I wanted to do the podcast, and I was like, you know what? Just do a weed banner. Like, it's the only weed thing in my house.
I love it. For real, I think that's a great setup. I think that. Anyway.
What's in store for the future, Marty? What's in store for the future for SOFEM?
For SOFEM, you know, probably not the answer you'd want to hear, but probably, you know, a little bit more of the same. You know, I'm working on new gear, like, you know, like everybody is. I've got, I released some Reg Photo limited release crosses for all these garlic butter crosses I did. I had hunted just one pack from Thug Pug with the garlic butter, and the stud that I got was just relentlessly awesome. I wish I would have took pictures of him flowering, but I ended up with over a dozen crosses, so I've been hunting those all year long. I've got 2 keeper cuts right now that obtained the original terpene profile of the moms plus the dried garlic from the butter garlic, so they're just like uniquely awesome. So I'm gonna work with some of that stuff and make some new. It'll be the first photo period feminized crosses that I've made in like 3 years. I'm working with a Runts auto and some other stuff. I'm making more of the cherry mustachio. Trying to with the autos, I'm trying to focus on on hype stuff, what people want. With my photo period work, it's more like what I think would be awesome, more like what I'm into.
I feel like we need that more like diverse selections now that like everything's kind of mainstream. I feel like your gelatos and your fucking and your cakes 100%. And the runs. So like now, like, what did you say? Jerry's pistachio or something? What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I took was it narcotic mustache? I forget who that comes from. I'm trying to be professional and shout out.
I love that.
I feel like I used to have that
right
a long time ago. Just a fucking mustache full of narcotics.
It was either Hell's Canyon or new 420 guy or something like that the seeds had come from. I'd gotten them in a trade or whatever, but it was a narcotic mustache crossed with the cherry cheese skunk that I made.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's what I want. Like that's what I feel like people are starting to vie for. Like
skunk cheese,
just that shit that nobody has done yet. You know,
yeah.
Like you know what I really
hasn't done in a while.
I want to do like a chocolate tie and a blue cheese and fucking
Somebody needs to bring back strawberry cough. Strawberry cough needs to be crossed with like grape ape and Mac 1 or some shit.
Man, strawberry cough is like the first what did we used to call it? Hydro was the first the first kind bud that I ever smoked. That was
mine too, dude. That's fucking wild. You say that. That was the first. Like I remember there was like Schwag who used to pull up, you know, down at Ave and grab the bag, and then it was Beasters that we all got from BC, right? And there was just Beasters everywhere, and I loved Beasters. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking shit. And then I think it was. And then they were like, "It's Hetty's, man," but it was always strawberry cough for like 2 years. I don't know why.
Or AK or Northern Lights, but
Northern Lights. Northern Lights and White Widow were like right before.
Yeah, White Widow.
So, yeah. White Widow was fucking huge around here
cough.
For sure.
Please,
Bring back
somebody.
Gorilla. You can never forget the glue. Don't forget the glue.
Oh, Gorilla Glue for sure. But that's awesome.
Shout out
man.
Rudolph.
I mean, it's been. Yeah, right? Yeah. I'll tell you what, Marty, it's been fucking awesome having you on, man. I mean, I think not only does that help, a lot of this shit helped me because I'm actually like in the beginning stages of learning like a bunch of shit. Like I literally just learned what pop was, like pop them. And like I went over to my buddy's house and I saw that.
Flip.
You said pop them.
Flip. Pop seeds. Flip to flower.
Oh, flip. See, I'm still fucked up, Marty, but I think it's gonna help a lot of people out, and especially now that you know that they know that you have all this information, you probably get a little bit more of a following, that's for sure. But yeah, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Go ahead, Justin.
I'm not done with you, so I'd love to have you come back. I feel like we just got this conversation started.
I feel like I want a whole segment on like how to manipulate a flower with your mind. We should do that.
I got to know before we let you go though. What's your favorite cross that you've made?
Give
me 1 out of 1 photo. That way we can make it a little bit easier.
My
That's good. That means they're all great.
He's like, I don't know, fucking all of them.
It was home slice for like a couple of years, and then when I started making all the SOFEM gear, it switched over to gooseberry and the creamy smooth that I made with the Blaine Cherry crossed with the Matrix, crossed into the Nanas Fix from Pollination Elite Genetics, and that creamy smooth is like just like it sounds. Like it's like almost every cut is like creamy. Some are a little louder than others. There's like citrus, berries, cherry undertones, but the loudness and the creaminess mixed together became like a favorite kind of like terpene profile for me. Like I don't know that I don't have a vocabulary to name the terpenes, but like even when I smoke other shit that like has that now, it's just instantly like I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm in a good headspace, good body high. That's my favorite like right now is that creamy smooth. And then for the autos, it was the blood lemon skunk, like I said, but
I think
You have that.
I think I have that.
yeah, that's been my favorite for years for the autos. But I did with the last of the original stock of the blood lemon skunk that I had, I did make some new crosses, and one of them was with the GG4 Tangy that like leans more on the tangy terps, but it still has like a little bit of gas. I crossed the blonde lemon skunk into that and made lemon skunk tangy, and that's probably my favorite auto right now. And it's the one I'm recommending the most for growers that don't want phenotype variants, because in a test grow, like over 12, 15 plants, I got pictures back from the test grow of it. Like every single plant looks the same. It looks like a room full of like photoperiod clones. Every plant was like 5-6 weeks into flower, all at the same time. All the buds are shaped the same. All the branching looks the same. And that's the lemon skunk tangy.
Now, where's a good spot that, somebody can get this if they don't have a local store that is selling these?
They can always hit me up on SOFEM Genetics on IG or on Cannabuzz, or the email for SOFEM Genetics is sofemgenetics@gmail.com. They can buy retail on the unofficialgoodguys.com, or they can hit me up and I can give them a full list of distributors. I think I've got 6 or 7 banks in the US right now, and then we've got a couple in Canada. Australia's having some problems.
Rochester Hydroponics. If you're in Rochester, you could, or not Rochester Hydroponics, #Hydro. Rochester Hydroponics, though, is the sponsor of the show, and will hopefully be carrying SOFEM Genetics as well soon. Again, Marty, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Great talking to you.
Appreciate you, man.
Goonies.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, as always, Goonies, right? Make sure that you are subscribing, or hit that Patreon, right? Make sure that you're getting on our Discord, you're following us on IG, on Facebook. We have that app coming out soon, so everyone, it's gonna be insane. But if you're not liked, subscribe, make sure you do that for our YouTube.
Turn on the notifications too, so you don't miss future episodes.
Because we do them live every Wednesday too. Not that we're recording live, but we're in the comments live. So we're premiering it live for everyone. So we're watching it right there with you. So yeah. But I think that we should have Marty say "Stay lit, stay informed," so we can edit this out real quick.
Okay. So
I think when we have a guest, we should do we'll just have Marty be like, we'll just say, and with that, guys, and then you just say, Marty, stay lit, stay informed.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And with that, guys,
Stay lit, stay informed.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the HerbaQuest podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, as well as follow the links below so you can stay lit and stay informed.